Hello. I've been interested in the trucking convoys up over in Canada. I've been trying to understand them a bit more, what they're standing for, what they believe, what they're trying to say. Because as expected, the media is not always so objective when it comes to reporting these things. And it seems like the mainstream media in Canada are really trying to downplay what they're doing and in some way twist what they're saying and to mean something completely different. Because from what I can gather, they're trying to stand up for freedoms. They're trying to voice concern over the fact that mandates are being more and more widespread in society. And they seem like normal people to me. A good chunk of the workforce in the trucking industry are partaking in this manifestation. So it doesn't seem controversial to me. That's the thing. It's standing up for freedoms and trying to stand up for human rights, the right to have an opinion, freedom of speech, those kind of things. They are not controversial. They are fundamental to us as human beings. Justin Trudeau, however, seemed to have a different take on that. He said something along the lines of that you can't trust those people because their opinions are unacceptable. He actually said something along those lines. And I mean, calling opinions or views or whatever as unacceptable, that in and by itself is unacceptable to me. And like, what's unacceptable about it? Could you please explain, Justin? It's are their opinions not mainstream enough? Is that the problem? Is that why they are not acceptable? Are they not woke enough? If they had a rainbow flag, maybe no problem. I don't know. How come their opinions are not acceptable, but your opinions are acceptable? It's mind-boggling. and even say that you believe that freedom as a concept is unacceptable. It's a strange take, I think, but even if you believe that, shouldn't other people have the right to believe what they believe? I mean, calling opinions unacceptable, you really are on thin ice, and to me that's looking more like a totalitarian state more than a democracy. Opinions differ. That's the thing about opinions. That's what they're supposed to do, and people are supposed to question things. If the mandates that they're protesting can't take criticism at all in any form, the proposed laws really are quite weak if they can't stand for criticism. Any good proposal that comes from the state should be put under the microscope and should be criticized from all kinds of directions and be looked at so many different angles. And normal people from the working class should be able to voice their concerns over the proposed law changes and stuff like that. And if a law change is so fragile that it need to be defended by the Prime Minister as discerning between opinions as to what are okay and not, they really expose themselves as being illogical if they can't stand criticism. But anyway, as I was saying, even if you believe freedom as a concept is controversial or not okay, unacceptable, as Justin seemed to think, even if you believe freedom is unacceptable, you should accept that other people might not agree with you in taking that stance. So there's this quote from Voltaire, the French philosopher, or the French guy, I don't know what he is exactly. It's pretty famous, but I think it's really great and suitable for this occasion. It goes something like, I might not agree with you, but I would die for your right to express your opinion. And to me, that quote is about the principle of free speech. If you as a person value free speech, that should apply across the board, no matter what. And it seems like that part is being lost on Justin Trudeau. Or maybe he doesn't even have that principle that he believes in free speech. It doesn't seem like it. Because if you believe in free speech, you should be able... part of that belief is that not everyone will agree with you. And that should be okay. That should be how we move forward in society, to have different views on stuff and to find something in common. But if everyone is expected to think alike, even from the get-go, then what's the point? That's... if that's the case, then we lose all meaning by having protests. If we can only protest things that are deemed acceptable by our great leader, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, if he's the only one who can sanction what opinions are acceptable or not, then what's even the point of having a protest? The whole idea, the whole concept of a democracy is that people should be able to stand up to ideas that they deem not acceptable. If you can only protest things that are sanctioned by the government, well, we live in China or some other country that's not in the Western world. That's not how free protests are supposed to go. They're not supposed to be sanctioned by the government. The government is not supposed to agree with everything that the people want to protest. That's the whole point. That's the idea. And so to me, it seems like Justin has completely lost the plot on that principle of free speech and standing up for what you believe in. And that's the thing that makes me lose all respect for him as a politician. It's not the fact that I don't agree with Justin, because personally I believe in freedom, and Justin Trudeau doesn't seem to value that. So we disagree on that, and that's fine. I can't agree with that with everyone. So that's not why I dislike Justin Trudeau. I can like someone despite having different opinions from them, but the fact that makes me, as I said, lose respect for him as the profession that he works in as a politician. It's the fact that he can't stand by his principles, or he doesn't seem to have any principles. If he would say that, listen, I don't agree with you, I think the mandates are a good thing, but I still respect your right to protest, and I want to listen to what you have to say. If he said that, I could still respect him as a human being and have a discussion. But if you just turn the other eye and say that it's not acceptable what you believe in, that's the one thing that is not acceptable, to deem other opinions as unacceptable. So as I said, if you value everyone's right to voice concern, to have questions, to protest, to be skeptical of things, then you have to do it across the board. You can't cherry pick what opinions you're supposed to protest. That's not how it works. And I think most people will realize this if we have sensible conversations with each other, instead of just shutting things down by saying it's not unacceptable. If we actually start to talk to one another, I think we will find that we have more in common than we think. We have more principles in common than we think, because these principles are very fundamental and ties to our fundamental rights as human beings to have freedom of speech. And if we start by finding that common ground, then we can move forward and have conversations despite disagreeing with one another. And we might even find that it's beneficial for both parties to talk to someone with whom they do not agree with. So if Justin Trudeau only surrounds him by yes-sayers and everyone around him says that these mandates are a good thing, great job Justin with coming up with this one, then he's not gonna find a revolutionary idea in that framework, in that mindset, where he's only surrounded by positivity. If he truly wants to find regulation that benefits his people in his country, he needs to listen to both sides. That's the only way to find something logical and something that works. If that really is the end goal, if we want to have something that works, we need to listen to both the critical and the positive. We can't lock each other up in these echo chambers on both sides. Even though I sympathize with the truckers in this one, I would still like to hear what Justin has to say to make his case. It applies to both sides. We can't have these echo chambers. And we're all human. And I think most of us in the Western world can agree on the fundamental rights as human beings. So we should use that as a starting point, and please can we have normal conversations with each other and respect different opinions. Listen to Voltaire, yes. Bye.